gotta jump in on something. This whole Rakic versus Ankalaev nonsense, this is one of the most misunderstood fights that I think I have witnessed. Now, let me put my cards on the table, okay? Anthony Smith, one of my close friends and my co-worker, that Anthony Smith, fought them both, has great things to say. But his opinion of what's going to happen is wildly important. Has he not given it to you yet? Is that what the problem is here? Have you guys not heard from Anthony Smith yet? Anthony had a very detailed breakdown of this fight. Now I don't know. Now I don't know. Now I'm starting to, you're making me think that you don't know, which means you either didn't hear him say it or he hasn't said it yet. So now I'm wondering what part of this that I can break down, but what an incredibly helpful thing to have. You have Anthony's opinion, the guy that shared the ring with both of them. I watched those fights. Those both look like pretty hard fights. The Ankalaev fight, though, according to you guys, from what our whole community was saying, all the pundits, the Ariel Helwanis of the world, was one heck of a lot closer than it was supposed to be. Anthony ends up breaking his foot on his own attack. Step in and stop the contest. So we didn't get to see that much of it. But for what we did see, had we been able to extend that over 15 minutes, I'm not sure who would have won. Like that was a lot closer match than you think. You've also created this narrative on Ankalaev, who is awesome. Ankalaev is awesome. I'm just sharing for you. You've created this, and you need to go look up his record because you're not going to find it on SureDog. He did Combat Sambo, which is as close, and that's what Fedor came through. That's as close to MMA without being MMA. Like if you want a background, Khabib, these guys, Marav had just gone and done a tournament of this. I mean, I'm sure like Combat Sambo, as far as getting experience and getting used to it, it's very, very close to MMA, and it's from an amateur perspective. They even do a level of that in the high school, in the education systems in Russia. So, I mean, Moldavsky comes to mind. Moldavsky, a heavyweight threat. Ankalaev beat him. And Nemkov, who's amazing and nothing short of that, fought Ryan Bader, fought Corey Anderson, fought Phil Davis. Ankalaev beat him. And I'm bringing that to you because you won't find that on SureDog. Like, Ankalaev is incredible. Make no mistake when I come out and try to correct you on some things on Ankalaev. What I'm here to tell you is he's not the wrestler you keep trying to tell me he is. He's not. Now, that may not play into the Rakic fight as much, but it sure as hell plays into the Alex Pereira fight, which is where the winner of Rakic and Ankalaev is going. The winner of Rakic and Ankalaev and the importance of this contest are wildly under-promoted. It shouldn't just be if Ankalaev wins. If Rakic wins, whoever wins is fighting Pierre. Not just they should. I'm telling you right now, that is who Pierre will fight next if Pierre stays at 205 pounds. I predict for you Pierre's next fight is against Tom Aspinall. I'm going to stand on that. But I'm telling you, to have such a significant fight and then to misunderstand it. DraftKings, my partners, right now, I can't believe this. I actually can't believe this. They've got Ankalaev the favorite, minus 380. That is so wildly wrong. They have Rakic, an underdog, plus 300. So for every $1,000 you bet on Rakic to win, if he wins, you get 3. You get your investment back and you get 3. And I'm not giving you gambling advice. I'm telling you that's going to be an ass kicking for DraftKings. Now, if you ask me who the favorite was, Chael, who are you leaning towards? Ankalaev. I lean towards Ankalaev. Even though Anthony Smith told me that Rakic is by far the better guy, by far the more aggressive guy, by far the bigger and stronger guy. I lean towards Ankalaev. I think that he can find a way, but that's because Rakic is coming off a loss, and before that he was coming off an injury. Like, we just don't quite know what Rakic is going to be in there, but he was looking very good against Prochazka. As a matter of fact, he won the only completed round against Prochazka. Rakic was on his way to beating Prochazka, who came out of that fight, Prochazka now, and went right into a world title fight. That would have been Rakic's world title fight, and he matches up really well with Pierre. I'm just reminding you guys who Rakic is, because you have seemed to forgot. I argue that you don't quite know Ankalaev the way that you think. He's awesome. You have that part right. Ankalaev is a effing problem. But he's not the wrestler, and you keep saying that he is. Just to let you know where you're getting this wrong. Ankalaev has a problem with urgency. And there's a really fine balance of which do you want. Do you want a guy that can relax in a moment? Do you want a guy that cannot feel the pressure of the moment? He's got ice running through his veins. Like, yes, you do. That is super, super important. And if a guy is too out there and he's just too, he just burns out, it just doesn't work. Like, you need that Fedor-esque, that Ankalaev-esque, where you can be relaxed in a moment. However, as the clock's ticking down, right, if you're a horse and you see the barn in sight, no matter how long you've been out running, you got to be able to sprint for it. And that is something Ankalaev does not do perfectly well. He only got 3 rounds, guys. Of those 3, he's got to win 2. Rakic is really, really good. Here, let me put this in perspective for you, okay? When Islam and when Islam and Charles fought, I know you guys love Charles. I see it too. When Islam and Charles fought, Charles had no chance. That was the matchup, a nightmare matchup ever. Charles tried to get out of that fight repeatedly. But that's true. That happened. There was no chance that Islam wasn't going to beat him. Islam was a 3-1 favorite. Okay? Just to put that in perspective for you. Islam, according to DraftKings, was less likely to beat Oliveira, who didn't want to fight him, than Rakic is to beat Ankalaev. That line is right now. Guys, I'm telling you, that is... And what difference does it make? When the whole thing is said and done, whether the guy blew another guy out or he barely got by him, you go to the pay window, it's the same. That concept I do understand. I'm talking to something different. I'm talking about what a 380 is supposed to represent. I'm talking what a plus 300 is supposed to represent. It's representing a expected dominance, a expected finish. If you are expecting dominance and you are expecting a finish, you do not know who Rakic is. I can't tell you this in any clearer of words. He's the bigger of the two. He's less experienced. That's good. You don't get better in this sport. You want to get good at soccer? Go play a whole bunch of soccer. It's not like that in this sport. You leave a little piece of yourself out there, it gets taken from you. Your toughness depletes. I mean, it's one of these things. That's another thing that favors Rakic. He's younger. Are you aware of this? You need to rethink that. And you got days to do it. You need to rethink that big time. I'm not ready to tell you Racic's going to win that fight. But I will guarantee you, as plainly as I know how to talk, Rakic can win that fight. And when someone's a plus 300 and they can win that fight, they only got to win 2 rounds. You got to give that a real good look.